flags on the tents are just moving a little bit. Nothing to affect these crews here. On the final day of the 2017 season, we'll get the grand final results from the men's varsity lightweight 4 to you now. So we have the Naval Academy coming away with the gold medal. Naval Academy in 6:26.5. Harvard 6:32.3, and Dartmouth 6:32.5. So very tight race there between the silver and bronze positions. In fourth was Columbia 6:36.6, Pennsylvania 6:40.3, and Princeton 6:46.9 for the grand final of the men's varsity lightweight 4. So next up, we're moving back to men's heavyweight 4s. Starting out here, the men's heavyweight 4s petite final with Marist in lane 1, Harvard in 2, the Naval Academy in 3, Wisconsin in 4, Dartmouth in 5, and MIT in the red hull out in lane 6. So we have every up at the start, and we have a start to the petite final of the varsity 4. So a mix of crews here, some crews that have qualified 8s, and then other crews where this is their top 4 athletes from their program. So we can expect really good racing, a 6-boat race here coming through in this petite final. So Marist in lane 1, Harvard in 2, Navy in 3, Wisconsin in 4, with Dartmouth in 5, and MIT in lane 6. So a tight race here from all 6 crews early in the race. It looks like, if anything, Harvard has a small lead and had taken a half a deck length advantage over Navy and Marist. So Wisconsin pushing right as well. So it looks like no crews getting more than a deck length lead. With the 3 outer lanes, lane 4, 5, and 6 staying very close together here. Looking across, it looks like almost all 6 crews are within a third of a length here. So a very good start from all 6 of the crews here. Harvard taking the lead, Navy in second, with a very tight race for the 3rd position between Wisconsin, Dartmouth, MIT, and Marist. But Harvard looks to be just stretching out a little bit in front now, with the Naval Academy moving with them. So Harvard getting about deck length. It looks like their coxswain is probably looking almost onto the bow ball of the Naval Academy crew. So we've got a close race here with 3 crews in the lead. Looking like Harvard is your leader early in the race. Let's head on out to the launch for the call.
Of the petite final of the men's varsity.
And then about a seat further back is Marist.
It's about a half a deck from Harvard back to Navy, and then about a seat further back is Marist. Marist has a couple of seats on Wisconsin, a third of a length on Dartmouth, and then another half length back to MIT. Navy coming up. Navy drawing level with Harvard now, 700 meters in. And both of those crews are just a deck length in front of a scrappy Marist crew over in lane 1. My fellow announcer tells me that the lead boats are at 34.5, and it looks like Marist making a push. It's Harvard by a couple of feet over Navy. Marist coming up, drawing level with Navy, so those 3 bows are only a couple of feet apart. Then it's nearly a length back to Wisconsin, half a length then to Dartmouth, and MIT closing up on Dartmouth. That's within a deck again.
Still barely in the lead now. As the boat surge each stroke, it's a 1 to 3 foot lead for Harvard, depending on what part of...
As the boats surge each stroke, it's a 1 to 3 foot lead for Harvard, depending on what part of the cycle they're on. Marist still hanging right there. They're a couple of feet behind Navy. So crossing the 1,000, it's Harvard. Just barely ahead of Navy, just barely ahead of Marist. Marist now with a 1-length lead of
behind Wisconsin. That's all within 2/3 of a length.
Dartmouth and MIT hanging close behind Wisconsin. That's all within 2/3 of a length. Harvard and Navy still nearly bow to bow, with Harvard the slight advantage. Marist looked like they had a little trouble over there for a couple of strokes, and that's dropped them a half a length back. Suddenly dropped. Half a length back. So let's see if they can fight their way back into it. They've certainly been game so far. So, a little bit of overlap now from Wisconsin to Marist, but Marist fighting back. It's Harvard by a deck now over Navy, but Marist coming back to within 2 seats of Navy in 3rd position. They've got that length back on Wisconsin. Wisconsin with 3/4 of a length over both Dartmouth and MIT. So 600 meters. Go, Harvard beginning to ease away. Harvard with a 1/3 of a length over Navy, but they are overstroking them now. They're at about 36.5 to Navy's 35. Marist 3 seats behind the Naval Academy. So heading in to the last part. Team final. It is Harvard, half a length, a little bit less, over Navy. Navy, 3/4 of a length.
Okay, so good tight racing here going on. It looks like the crew from Marist dropped back just a little bit. Harvard and Navy up on the lead right now. Wisconsin, Dartmouth, and MIT in the outer lanes. So right now we've got the crew from Harvard, lane 2, leading the race here. So good racing going on from the Naval Academy, challenging Harvard with in that third 500 meters. Marist bobble there from lane 4. Dropping back a little bit here. Wisconsin. And the outer lane's just a little bit of a bobble there from lane 4. Wisconsin. But Dartmouth and MIT in the outer lanes pushing right with the Wisconsin crew for that 4th place position. But we have a tight race here out front. And Harvard in lane 2. In this petite final of the Naval Academy pressing, and Marist in a solid 3rd position right now in this petite final of the men's varsity 4. So Harvard, your lane 2 leader right now. Naval Academy in lane 3 trying to really press into the Harvard lead right now. Harvard has bumped the rate up just a touch right now as they hit about 200 meters to go. Harvard is surging. The Naval Academy digging in, trying to find a little bit more in the final 100 meters of the race here. But it looks like Harvard is clearly in the lead right now. Harvard pressing. Harvard's lifting that rate to the line now. Navy clearly in the 2nd place position. Marist running a solid 3rd here. So Harvard is over the line. And the Naval Academy in 2nd. So Harvard is your 1st place crew. And Marist in 3rd. followed by a tight race here with, it looks to be Wisconsin, MIT, and Dartmouth. So a good race there for that 4th place position. 3 crews tightly packed on the outside. And Maris will get those times to you, the unofficial times to you. The win in the Petite Final ahead of the Naval Academy, and Maris will get those times to you, the unofficial times to you shortly. But good racing in that Petite Final of the Men's Varsity 4. And next up we have our first heavyweight grand final of the day. 9:30 race. We have the Men's Varsity 4 grand final coming up, with Washington in lane 1, followed by California in 2, Boston in lane 3, Princeton in 4, Brown in lane 5, and Marietta in lane 6. So should have a great race. This first heavyweight grand final of the day. So just going back to check a quick result here, the lightweight 4 grand final, we had Navy as your winner in 626.5, ahead of Harvard in 632.3, and the bronze medalist Dartmouth in 632.5. We'll get the unofficial results of the Petite Final to you now, with Harvard coming away your winner in that race. Harvard 634.2. Navy 636.4, Maris 641.8, Wisconsin 646.5, MIT 647.5, and Dartmouth in 647.6. Tight race for that 5th place position there. So we're going back up to the start.